You're listening to The Early Show on WWGH Radio. Scott Spears along with you for the ride. And you have tuned in on a very special morning, to be sure. Now, we are doing something from now, 8:15, until 9:30 this morning, that is very rare in the world of live radio, and we are as live can get right now. We are taking out everything for our guest today because we want to hear what he has to say. Our guest today, I've had the pleasure of interviewing in the past. 2017 was the last time we got to meet face-to-face in New York, and without question, without him, I would not be sitting here, along with any channel you turn to anywhere on the dial, because this guy ushered in a generation of talk show hosts, made them want to do this job. And along the way, he created the first issue-oriented daytime talk shows that spawned Oprah Winfrey, Jerry Springer, Sally Jesse Raphael, Maury Povich, Dr. Phil, the whole bunch. They owe their start to this man. And it all started in Dayton, Ohio, which is very apt at this particular time. 29 years, he has the record. He was on the air. Over 7,000 shows. The first show on AIDS. John Wayne was on his show. Muhammad Ali. Ronald Reagan. The list goes on and on. He doesn't do these appearances very often, and I could not be more pleased to say these words. The legendary pioneer of daytime talk, the man who started the whole thing. What a pleasure it is to say, welcoming to these microphones, Phil Donahue. Mr. Donahue.
Well, Scott, I was afraid you wouldn't be able to read my handwriting. You made my day. I'm gonna see if I can't order maybe 50 of these on audio tape. But thank you very much. I'm very pleased and grateful for your very generous introduction. And I'm just impressed with your professional enthusiasm, and you're doing what I used to do. Just, drive people crazy until they finally say yes and do the show. That's really, that shows me a lot.
Well,
more your kind in our game.
Well, I have to say, and there are a few more things we're going to get on into here in the next 28 minutes. But I think this is important live radio stuff to talk about. I barrage Mr. Donahue with requests to come on this show constantly. He's probably about ready to change his phone number.
No, I'm telling you the truth when I say, Ralph Nader, I thought, God, I wanted Ralph so bad. And, of course, I was only on in Dayton, so I would call him and I'd say, and a woman would say, who is this? And I'd say, it's Phil Donahue. And she would say, Phil who? And so I found out he was coming to Dayton, and, of course, if you come to Dayton, you have to land in Cincinnati. At least this is back in very early, late 50s maybe. So I found out when he was coming. I drove to Cincinnati, which is about 60 miles south of Dayton. And I figured, I'm gonna surprise him. And he's going to say, Phil, you came all the way to Cincinnati to pick me up? How can I How can I say no? So down the stairs at the Cincinnati airport, which, as you know, is in Kentucky, comes this guy with the skinny tie and the shoes that he has been wearing since middle high school. And I walked up to him and I said, "Ralph, I'm Phil Donahue." And he said, "Phil, you came all the way to Cincinnati to pick me up? How can I say no?" And I drove him to Cincinnati, scared to death because my 57 Chevy did not have seat belts. And of course, that night I had a nightmare that I had an accident and Ralph's body was thrown from the car and killed. And I didn't sleep very well that night. But he did the show the following day, and he talked about unsafe cars and projectiles protruding from the dashboard. And the real problem is the second accident, where the people in the car are eggs in a crate, and that after the accident they roll around, and that's what kills them. And I had probably 100 women in the audience, housewives, and they stared at him, slack-jawed. They couldn't believe it. And I proved that, we were up against a woman dressed like a chicken salad sandwich who was winning prizes on Let's Make a Deal. Come on down, and all the screaming of people and spinning wheels. And here I am with Ralph Nader. And Ralph proved, it was a great show. And the audience stayed afterwards talking to Ralph about unsafe cars and, what they can do about it. It was really something. And I proved that you didn't have to laugh at funny jokes. You didn't have to say, hee hee ha ha every minute of the day in order to be successful. So from that point on, I had Ralph on my show during the 27 years. How many years did you say we were on?
29 altogether.
29 years. He was on the air. He was on my show more often than any other single guest in the history of our show. So, and I was just with him about a year ago. He was, and I've been to the museum. He's got a tort museum in Winston, Connecticut, the city of his birth. And we're still pals, and he was the one that really kind of set me apart, made me different than anybody else. And and he didn't wear an outfit that looked like a chicken salad sandwich. But boy, he got the crowd. He did me the favor. He legitimized me. So I will always feel indebted to him.
Well, before I let you go, I have to say that you have made my day, without question. I really do know you don't do these things often, and to give us this time and to come on with us means the world to me, and I hope you are still able to do it periodically, because when you come on, the morning is more exciting, a little more energy around, and we really do want to hear what you have to say. We really, really do. You are the best.
Okay. Well, you're a pal. Thank you so much, Scott. And it's been my pleasure. And Thank you for getting the old talk show guy out of bed and trying to do his best for you, because I respect you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Donahue.
Okay, kid. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Phil Donahue. How about that? Here comes the news. We'll be back in just a moment.
Dayton